Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I hope everybody's having a great and blessed day. It's your boy Anthony, aka Rafa, back here on day 5 of the journey. And today's topic is going to be don't force it. And how I got here is pretty interesting because like I fell on scripture and I falls on the book of Daniel. And I'm reading Daniel chapter 2, and it's talking about Daniel interpreting the dream for King Nebuchadnezzar. And as I'm reading this, like I read certain scriptures and I was like, okay, Lord, what are you trying to say? Like, what are you trying to say? Like, what were you trying to say to me through that? And it was certain things that stuck out to me. And as I'm at the gym, I'm just like, okay, Lord, okay, this is what I'm gonna talk about. Okay, this is what I'm gonna talk about. Okay, I'm gonna hit on this, and that, and the third. And like a piece of me was just like, nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. I don't think that was it. And like all through while I'm working out, I was just like, okay, Lord, I ain't gonna worry about it. If you don't give me a message today, then I just won't be, I'm not gonna force it. Like, I'm not forcing it. It is what it is. I was like, what did it mean? And I finally just let it go. I get from the gym and I start walking. And as I'm walking, I'm on a trail and I'm walking and I said, Lord, what did the dream, what does that scripture mean? Why did I read that? What does it mean? And I finally said, you know what? It is what it is, man. You cannot put a meaning to everything. It is what it is. If I gotta force a message, I'm not giving it. Unless you give me your message, it is what it is. Everything don't gotta have a meaning. And he said, that's what it is. There you go. There you go. Don't force it. That's the message. And I was like, huh? He's like, think about what you read in Daniel. The king wanted to know the interpretation of the dream. He first wanted to know the dream itself and the interpretation. So the king had asked the wise men, he called the magicians, the wise man, and the astrologers, and he said, first and foremost, tell me my dream and then interpret it for me. And I'll know that you interpreted it correctly because you told me my dream. And they kept saying, the astrologers, who have no power, who have no connection to God, literally saying, okay, what, King of Kings, tell us your dream. And the king was like, no, I'm not telling you my dream. You tell me what my dream is and then interpret it for me. Because if you don't tell me what my dream is, I know that you're just going to try to tell me something that I want to hear. Because you know, if you don't tell me, there's only one decree for you, and that you're going to get chopped up to pieces. You're going to get chopped up to pieces, and I'm literally going to turn your houses into rubble. And because they couldn't tell him, he told the astrologers told the king straight up, what you're asking has never been asked of an astrologer, of a magician, of the wise man ever. To first interpret your dream, we don't know what you dreamt, and then for us to interpret it. So what he did was he put out a decree. Kill all the wise men, because if he would have told them what the dream was, they would have forced an interpretation that was not true. They would have forced something that was not true. They were going to put meaning to something that they knew nothing of. The meaning that they wanted to give because they already knew the decree. We're going to die if we don't tell this man what his dream is and also the interpretation. So he put out a decree, kill all the wise men. And Daniel was one of those wise men, but Daniel didn't get a chance to interpret the dream. So he wanted to know what was going on. Like, why did the king do this? And one of the commanders let him know. So let him know what was going on. So he went to the king. Hey, king, can I have some time? Can I have a little bit of time? Give me just a little bit more time so that I can know, I can inquire who I'm going to inquire, which is God of all, God himself. Or as in the book of Daniel, he's called the God of heaven. So him doing that, he told 3 of his advisors to pray. Ask God, look, we need some mercy. Ask God, what was the dream? And they did that. God revealed the dream to Daniel and also gave him the interpretation. So Daniel went back to the king and told him what his dream was. And then also interpreted the dream. So by him doing so, the king fell prostrate on his face and told Daniel, you serve the God of heaven. You serve the God that's over all kings and all lords. Surely you serve the true God, because that's exactly what his dream was. And you see, the funny thing is, The funny thing is, the word lets us know that the astrologers, the magicians, and the wise men who did not inquire of God, they could not interpret the dream. They couldn't put a meaning to something that they knew nothing about. Just like when I kept saying, Lord, I'm not finna force a message. That's what the other men were going to do, try to force a message or force an interpretation on something that they knew nothing about, because they weren't going to inquire of God. But because I kept asking God, Lord, what does it mean? What does that verse, what does these scriptures mean that you let my eyes fall on? And I finally said, you know what, my hand's out of it. It is what it is. And that's when he said, that's what it is. Don't force the message. You can't force it, because you inquired of me. Because you inquired of me, that's exactly what Daniel did. He went to the source himself. The word lets us know he went to the source himself. The revealer, and he also, Daniel called God the revealer of mysteries. Like, if you want to know something, ask God. That's why when I say, that's what the message is, don't force it. Don't force something. Don't force people to stay in your life. Don't force a situation. Don't force things to be what you want them to be. Don't even force an understanding on something that you know nothing about, especially when you excluded God. And if you don't know God, I would advise you right now today to get to know God, because if you want to know things that nobody else knows, you have to be in relationship with the Lord. He lets us know things that nobody else knows. How could Daniel know another man's dream if he wouldn't have inquired of God? Daniel had to go to the source himself, so that him being a wise man, along with the other wise men who were just going to try to tell the king whatever he wanted to hear, or try to force an interpretation on a dream that they knew nothing about, Daniel had to go to God. Daniel had to go to the source himself. Daniel had to inquire of the Lord. And you see a lot of people, they don't know how to go to God and ask God, what does this mean? You see, this is the funny thing. If God is not in your life, you might be walking around right now trying to figure out, or you're trying to put an interpretation to, why is my life going like this? You see, as long as God is not in your life, there is no meaning behind it. You just going through the motions. But once you put God in the picture and you start to ask God, Lord, what is this for? He will start to let you know why these things are happening in your life. He'll let you know that it's for the benefit of his kingdom. It's for the benefit of you becoming who you called you to be. Because everybody is God's creation, but everybody's not God's child. It's going to be people that see this video and it ain't going to resonate with them, because they probably not God's child. But it's going to be people that say, okay, man, I probably ain't living the best life, but I know God be trying to talk to me. I know God be trying to soften my heart, but I still want to stay in a world of sin. And you're trying to figure out why these things are going on in your life. Don't force it. Don't force an interpretation, especially if you're not asking God and inquiring of him. Why is the reason I'm broken? Why is the reason that my daddy left when I was 2? Don't try to make your own interpretation. Ask God. He'll let you know why. Why did this happen to me when I was 3 years old? Why have I been dealing with the same trauma for 20 years? Ask God. Go to God. But to go to God, you got to build a relationship with him. You got to get to know him. You got to want to dive into his word. You literally got live a life that a lot of people ain't willing to live. You got to give up the sin. You got to give up the world and trade it for the spiritual man. And that even sometimes takes time for some people. Because I'm going to keep it a buck. I didn't just say, oh, Lord, I didn't just wake up one day and just, oh, Lord, I want you. It took some time. It took time. He didn't force his way into my life. Just how God's saying, don't force it. Don't force the relationship. Don't force the understanding. Don't try to force getting a job. Don't try to force getting the new iPhone 17 or whatever. Don't try to force things that don't need to be forced. Let things happen how they need to. But for you to get to a place of peace, of letting things happen how they need to, you need God. You need God. You have to, if you want to know what's really going on, if you don't want to force anything in life, I promise you need to inquire of God. You got to talk to God. You got to build that relationship, because with God, you're not going to force anything. Like now, once you get to that place of peace, you're just going to learn, okay, God telling me to do this. God telling me to do that. Just like I told him, I said, look, Lord, I ain't finna force no message. If you don't give me one today, it is what it is. And you know how many people out here forcing things? People are literally like, if something don't go their way, they gonna try to their best make it happen, not realizing that they're going against what's actually happening. Most people trying to force things to happen when they not realizing just go with the flow of what's happening. That's what needs to be happening. You're trying to go against it because they want a lot of people want life to be how they want it to be versus how it is. You see what I mean? So with that being said, it's like, don't force anything. Don't even force, like sometimes God just had me read and I'm just like, okay, there was nothing. You just wanted me to read. There was nothing there for me to try to pull from. There was nothing there that just stuck out to me. I was just reading to be reading. And sometimes you just got to read. Because reading, like faith comes by hearing and hearing comes by the reading of the word. If you want to hear God, you got to read his word. And it takes faith to put trust into something that you cannot see. But that's the basis of faith. A lot of people don't want to believe in God simply because, oh, I can't see him, but you breathe in his breath every day. Make it make sense. A lot of people will miss out on something great because they got to see it to believe it. But all of God's children, we believed him before we even seen it. And he's shown himself true time and time again throughout our lives. Even this right now, I don't have to come here and talk about this, but God has been too good to me. Even if I can't tangibly touch him, I know he is real. And it ain't that ain't something I have to force. I don't have to force an ideal on anybody. I don't have to force trying to prove that he's real. Like I know he is. But sometimes people need to hear another person's perspective or hear their, like, what's the word I'm looking for? The feeling that they get behind it. Like, look, God is in my life every day, even with the situation that I'm in. Right now, I'm still here talking about God and what he's revealing to me. I can't fake this. If you watch the other videos, I can't fake this. I can't fake this at all. Boy, if somebody out here faking a relationship with God, they probably, good luck with that. Good luck with that. But I can't fake it. I can't force a relationship. I can't force a relationship with God at all. At all. I can't force trying to prove to somebody that, oh, I'm in a relationship with the Lord. Simple as that. So it's just like, whatever it is that you're experiencing, don't force it. Don't force it at all. Like, don't force trying to get the house. If things are not going the way that you want them to go, do not try to force it to go the way that you want it to go. Simply because if you try to force it, you're just going to get yourself in bigger problems. You're going to create more problems than what it was at first because you're trying to force something that was never meant to be forced. And us as humans, we do that. We want things to be the way that we want them to be. We want life to go the way that we want it to go. We want our siblings to be the way we want them to be. We want our spouses to be the way we want them to be. It's almost like a sense of control. When you're trying to force something, you can't relinquish control. And when you can learn to relinquish control and let God do what it is that he needs to do, you're not forcing anything. I can't force this. I can't do that. No. Oh, dang, somebody forgot to, they told me about the party, but they forgot to invite me. Let me hit them up. Don't force it. If they forgot to invite you, it is what it is. They probably didn't forget to invite you. I'm not saying they intentionally did it. No, things just happen, and just be okay with what's happening. Don't force it. When you forcing things, you're getting in the way of what really needs to happen. And then you're wondering why you find yourself in so many predicaments or you got all these problems because you forced it. You got in a way trying to control the situation when really you should have let the situation do what it was going to do. And understand where you have power and where you don't. Where you have power is you have power over your thoughts. You have power over your actions. The rest of it is out of your hands. The only thing we have true power over is ourselves. And the moment people realize that is the moment they can get out of their way and stop trying to force a situation. Stop trying to force a relationship. Stop trying to force the money. Stop trying to force a business. Stop trying to force greatness. Stop trying to force purpose. You can't force any of that because you don't have any control over it. Just like if I would have tried to force a message, it wouldn't have did what it was supposed to do. And I was just like, Lord, I ain't finna force a message because I was going to talk about shoot, astrologers, magicians, and how that's all witchcraft. How that's all new age stuff. I was gonna talk about that. But that wasn't it. And I just kept saying, that ain't it. That's not it. And I could feel it. It was not it. So I was just like, you know what? It's out of my hands. I'm just going to go throughout the day. I'm going to focus on what I have control over. And that's where I go today. What I think. What I give my attention to. And that's exactly what I did. And when I finally just said, Lord, I don't understand. What does it mean? And I was just finally like, man, you know what? You don't have to put a meaning to everything. And I was just like, oh, well, that's kind of not true. And I was like, well, I'm just not going to force it. And he said, that's the message. Don't force it. Don't force it at all. Just come to me and ask. Just like the magicians and the astrologers were going to force an interpretation. They were going to force it. Force an interpretation on the king's dream. But Daniel went to God. And he didn't force it. He just asked God, what does it mean? Lord, I need to know. And that's what I kept doing. Lord, what does it mean? And when I finally just said, I let go. Don't force it. If you want to know anything, ask God. If you want to know the right direction, ask God. If you want to know where you're going in life, inquire of God. If you want to know what the next step is, talk to God. If you want to know where your relationship is going, holler at God. If you want to know if the relationship is for you, talk to God. If you want to know it's the job for you, talk to God. If you want to know what the dream that you had last night meant, talk to God. If you want to know if it's time to walk away or to let go of a season, if you want to know if it's your time up in a season is happening, talk to God. Don't force staying in a certain place. Don't force trying to go to a new state. Don't force anything. Ask God. And if you're wondering, how do I ask God? Tell God, I want a relationship with you. Talk to him. If you don't have a relationship with God, take baby steps. Start reading your word. Start praying. If you have not accepted Christ into your life, tell God, it's about that time. If you have not accepted Christ into your life, it's probably about that time. How do I do that? Well, first and foremost, you have to believe in your heart. You have to believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead. That he raised him from the dead. But you also have to confess out of your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord. But you have to be willing to accept God into your life wholeheartedly. And let God know that you are a sinner. That you sinned against him. And that you want to walk away from your sin. And that you want him to come into your life and reside within you. And to help you walk out your day-to-day walk. To start to build that relationship so that you can know, okay, Lord, I need you in my life. And even you could just take the baby step of just saying, Lord, I need you. Lord, I don't know what to do without you. Lord, I've tried to do it on my own. Lord, I might not be saved, but Father God, I'm asking you to lead me. And even when I think that I got it, I'm asking you to show me that you are there for me, that I need you. Even if I don't want to do everything your way, Lord, show me how to get out of your way in my own way. So that I'm not trying to force a lifestyle that you did not intend for me. Lord, I want a relationship with you. Show me what that looks like. Help me on a day-to-day basis. Lord, I know I'm not perfect, but Lord, I need you. And that's a step right there. And let him lead you how he needs to lead you. Even if it's just taking that first step of saying, Lord, I need you. You're inquiring of him. And the rest of it, we have to trust that it's in his hands. And that he's going to lead you to the right people. He's going to lead you to the right congregation. He's going to lead you to the right mentors. He's going to lead you to the right wise counsel. And he's going to lead you into his arms. Don't force it. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm telling you today, don't force it. Talk to God. Ask him because he's the revealer of all things. He's the revealer of mysteries. He knows your heart. He knows your mind. He knows you because he made you. Like I said, every person on this planet is God's creation. But everybody's not his child. You know who you are. If you're God's child, you're his. And you know he's calling to you. So pick up the phone. That's all you got to do. But if you're not his child, you're not. It's as simple as that. Some people are instruments for Satan's plan. And scripture tells us that. And if somebody get butthurt about it, get butthurt about it. But I'm here to tell the truth. We are all God's creation. But everybody's not his child. But you know who you are because you can feel him pulling on you. If you blatantly reject God time and time and time again, you probably not his child. But if you can feel God pulling on you, there's people pulling up to you, talking to you about God. There's people asking you, do you know Jesus? And there's messages and videos that you keep coming across. And it's just like, man, this ain't no coincidence. Just pick up the phone. You don't got to force it. You don't have to force a relationship with God because he ain't going to force a relationship with you. It just takes time. You just got to walk with him, talk with him. Holler at your boy. That's what you do. Holler at your father who loves you. And just tell him, Lord, I'm here. I know I'm not perfect. I know I've been running. But I'm here. Just show me. Lead me. Guide me. To the best. And I'll try to do the best of my ability. And he gonna work with you. You just gotta work with him. So today's message, man, is just don't, from this day forward, don't force it. Whatever you've been forcing in your life, stop trying to force it. Just let it go. Release it. It is what it is. And watch how God move in your life if you just relinquish control and say, Lord, you lead me. You show me. You guide me. I'm done forcing outcomes that's out of my control. But that's all I got to say, man. I hope y'all have a great and blessed day. I hope everybody in some way that come across these videos get to see God's face. And honestly, just let God lead you. Let God lead you. And I really don't have nothing else to say. Shoot, if you like this video, share it. If you feel like it can help somebody, share it. You can subscribe. You can give me a follow. It's up to you. Even if you don't do that, that's cool. But just keep tapping in. I look forward to every video that I give, that the message that God gives me, and we here. Like I said, this journey, day 5 of the journey. Topic being, don't force it. You don't have to, because you got a God that's willing to lead you and guide you. But y'all have a great and blessed one, and I'm out.